Hello and welcome to a brief description of angels, a brief treatise upon angels. They are one of the orders of life created by God. They are similar to humans in that they can worship God and a capacity for rebellion against God. They are different from us in that they are spiritual creatures and that they are not redeemable in the same way that we are after our fall. Those that have fallen are permanent. The only purpose in the study of angels is to understand God's creation and how the universe works. Angels don't need your attention. They work for God, and it is in the soul that we experience things like loneliness and need for attention, the soul being the mind, the emotions, and the will. And a purely spiritual creature would not suffer from the drives created by a soul. There are two kinds of angels, those that work for God and those that are evil that have fallen and followed Satan. And are now the same species of creature with the same powers turn in the opposite direction. Within that, there are subclasses of angels, which we'll talk about. An angel just means messenger, so that when you carry a message for God, in the technical sense, you're an angel. So evangelist means good news bringer, good messenger, and therefore messages carried by God are by definition carried by angels. You have often felt like someone brought you something from God, a word or a piece of help or a piece of physical need being satisfied, and you thought, this is an angel from God. An evangelist is a good news bringer. That human being behaving in that angelic fashion is limited by humanity. Were you given the message to carry, to say, bring the gospel to Tibet, you would be limited by food and sleep and your own emotions. I'm hungry. There's only so long you can fast, both in your own will and in your own physical health. Only so long you can go without sleep. Only so long you can go without emotional upset. Humans need days off, need nights of sleep, need meals. The angelic angel, if that's a way to put it, can give a perfect eternity to good or evil without time lost to food or sleep or emotions. An angel is only interested in the business of God or the business of Satan. According to Genesis, when we see the sons of God become attracted to the daughters of men, we see they can manifest a physical form that manifests DNA, and they reproduce, creating monsters, giants. If you read the book of Enoch, apparently the monsters of the earth as well. They can be beautiful. Lucifer was an angel of light, apparently one of the most pleasing creatures upon the earth to look at. He was the person in charge of worship in heaven, and you may have noticed that even your worship leader has to dress a little nicer, has to be a little more appearance conscious, because if their appearance is off-putting, it's going to interfere with worship. And so, while you shouldn't be a prima donna in the process, it is part of making a good performance that you also have performers that are more easy on the eyes and they are hard on the eyes. Now, finally, this is a terrifying story. The abuse that's happening in Sodom and Gomorrah causes God to say, I'm hearing these terrible cries from down there. I need you guys to go down and investigate. The angels that go down there take on human form. And the people in Sodom say, those are beautiful. We're going to take them by force physically, if you know what I'm saying. And it says something disgusting about the people of Sodom and Gomorrah, that seeing beauty makes them want to take it by force. But it says that these forms are beautiful. But this is not the real appearance or nature of angels, because I mean we've been misled to such a great extent through art and various things. They will of course put on a form that is easiest for you to palate. Because now, speaking of worship leaders, I'm not the worship leader where I go to church. I do a lot of music, and I have led a lot of worship in various times and places. And I put on my best. I shave, I shower, I wear clean clothes, and I try to be more easy on the eyes than hard on the eyes. And of course, there's some vanity in there. Every artist and musician and performer has some of that in there. And I don't know what to do with that. I think that maybe without it, you can't get on stage in front of people, because the most common fear apparently is public speaking. So artists and performers, if they don't have that, they've got this other flaw. So a seraph is one of the orders of angels and is described in the Word of God. But it says the actual meaning, when we picture angel, is a form they took on to be relatable to us. It's a beautiful humanoid, but it's a humanoid. You go, I recognize that, and I can talk to that. You know, it's like being in the presence of a movie star and feeling kind of stupid and nervous, but you can have a human conversation. Seraph means fiery serpent. It is possible that those who've seen angels in seraphs in their truest form describe them, and that is where we arrived at our legends of dragons. We know that Satan is described as a dragon and as a serpent in the Word of God. It has 6 wings. It has human voices. Those wings are very interesting. 2 cover the face. I don't want to see what's in front of me. 2 cover the feet. I don't want these holy spiritual feet to touch this unholy earthly ground. And 2 that fly. Now, we get a little more interesting when we get to cherub. That's one of the other specific designations of angelic species. While we have a definition for seraph, we don't have a definition for cherub. That is, and so cherubim, when it's used in the Bible, it's as if we all know what it's supposed to mean. And then we don't know what it's supposed to mean. So a couple things about that. We have been misled by ancient medieval art through the phenomenon of the pato. The pato is an artistic figure that recurs in medieval art that represents cherubim as fat babies with angels. And so we've begun seeing, this is why we have a bad image of heaven. It's not biblical, but cinematic and created by culture. Seeing that's what angels are. Now, we know that seraphim don't look like that. They can take any human form they want, but probably something much more akin to a dragon. But this cherubim thing, so they don't look like little fluffy baby angels sitting on clouds playing harps with little wings. Now, the following is just a piece of thinking. Lateral thinking is not fact or false, but a thought to consider. God spoke to Adam in the language of heaven. Adam then composed words for animals. Humans all spoke a hybrid of the language of heaven and the words God enabled Adam to invent until the Tower of Babel. There was one human language, and it came primarily from the language of heaven. Almost every modern human language, every human word can be traced to a root language. The cherub can't. And so, people of the Bible knew what cherub meant, especially Adam saw one, because that's what guarded the gates of Eden from them returning. So he knew what it was. Possibility exists that the word cherub is a direct word from the language of heaven. It describes a heavenly creature that we can't tell you what it looks like. I mean, there's vague description. It's very hard to imagine this thing. And I'll give you the limited description, but it's very, 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 very strange. So maybe cherub is one of the words that's left over from the language of heaven spoken to Adam by God. It says, God rode them like a vehicle and like a horse. They have wheels, coals of fire. They have hidden hands under their wings. And you go, what's the hand for? Well, we know that that one of them at least bears a flaming sword to keep the entry to Eden closed. So it enables it to, so hands and feet on a non-earthly creature enable them to interact with the earthly world. Because hands and feet really exist for earth interaction. They are tools that make sense here. As in, ice picks only make sense in places you have ice. In the same sense, hands and feet make sense when you have ground to walk on and tools to manipulate. That's why we're God's hands and feet, because they're required for this earthly dimension. They have barrel wheels. Now, it's very, very interesting. Beryl, as you look it up, is amber, basically. And amber is the color of angelic ministry making a path for worship. It is a color of angels facilitating, encouraging, ministering to God and us following that example. Much as we see the angels crying, holy, holy, holy in the book of Revelation, and it's being the chorus of heaven that we're going to respond to and participate in. It has 4 heads, 4 wheels, more than 4 wheels, but each one points in a direction, can only move in a straight line. It is covered in eyes. So while it has this kind of hidden hand, it has eyes that see everything in all directions. Ezekiel 10:13 talks about a wheel within a wheel, which is hard to imagine, but it's as if it's, I don't think it's mechanical, but to the human eye, it appears to have a clockwork or steampunk or mechanical quality. It has 4 faces, a cherub, a man, a lion, and an eagle, which represent 4 kingdoms of life. A spiritual one, a human one, a land-based one, and an air-based one. Understand that they exist for God's benefit, not for ours. Angels will not be contacting you to give you long stories or ask you for your help. You may, within your life, have the opportunity to get a message from an angel, and that's entirely biblical. But be discerning like a Berean if this occurs. The angels are the UPS of God. Your UPS guy leaves your package and leaves. He doesn't say, would you open the door? Can I have some of your coffee? Can I use your bathroom? Can we have a long talk about my childhood? Your visit with an angel, if it occurs, will be precise, will be like someone delivering a package. It will not be a long story about how it asked you for help, how it wanted something from you, other than to deliver a message from God. Be cautious, therefore. The obedient ones are going to act like UPS, and they will make war. Another thing is the main things that angels do. Disobedient ones will be interested in more than delivering a message. If I have blessed you, encouraged you, or equipped you, and better to deal with this subject, please like and subscribe.